Hello and good morning, and welcome to this discussion of the importance of self-care, nurturing your well-being for a balanced life. My name is Matt Gamble. I have a master's in clinical mental health counseling from Southern New Hampshire University. I'm currently pursuing my PhD from Walden University in counselor education and supervision. So let's jump in real quickly to this brief discussion of the importance of self-care. A lot of people ask, what is self-care? So I work with a lot of clients who I will call self-care naive, and all I mean by that is they are unaware of what self-care is. And that's one of the primary things I'd like for us to establish today is just what exactly is self-care, what's the importance of it, because you do hear a lot about self-care in the news, just general social media outlets. You hear a lot about self-care, and I find a lot of people curious as to what self-care is. So let's find out what self-care is and what you can do to improve your self-care. Our agenda: understand the concept of self-care and its importance in maintaining overall well-being. Let's see. Also, we will identify different types of self-care activities that promote physical, emotional, mental, social, spiritual, and professional well-being. So you see that self-care, while it's fairly uh, ill-defined or not very well defined in our common everyday life and activities, has an impact on a great many aspects of our healthcare and overall well-being. So we should have an understanding of what self-care is. That way we can better manage our health. So the definition of self-care, and this is something I would like you to keep in mind throughout this discussion. The definition of self-care is taking deliberate actions to preserve and enhance our emotional, mental, and physical well-being. The significance of self-care in today's fast-paced and demanding world. So with that definition in mind, taking deliberate actions to preserve and enhance our emotional, mental, and physical well-being is it's kind of telling, really. It means that we have to put forth the effort to take care of ourselves. And how can we do that? So let's talk about the benefits of self-care first. Let's see. We see that self-care enhances our physical health. It reduces the risk of burnout, chronic stress, physical ailments. So there is a saying in the mental health community that stress and trauma are the number one killers of um, of humans. The You'll see a lot in news that heart attack, high cholesterol, obesity, being inactive or having a sedentary lifestyle is a killer of humans. When you get right down to it, a lot of those ailments, heart attack, cholesterol, obesity, can be traced back to chronic stress. So if we want to trace it back to patient zero, if you will, then chronic stress is something that we should all be much more worried about than what we actually are. We can help manage our stress and reduce or prevent burnout and physical ailments through enhanced physical health by way of improvements of self-care. Uh, Another benefit of self-care is improved mental and emotional well-being. Self-care reduces our anxiety, depression, and negative emotions. It enhances our self-esteem, sense of self-worth, and emotional resilience. Meaning, emotional resilience is another very interesting topic. It's our ability to bounce back, if you will. So we have a setback. Let's say you don't get a promotion at work or where you're employed at. Um, Bouncing back from that quickly and becoming more engaged in the work environment is a example of emotional resilience. You don't get down depressed because you didn't get the promotion. You're bouncing back quickly and just diving right back in, working harder. So increased productivity and focus. Taking care of ourselves enhances concentration, creativity, and problem solving abilities. It restores motivation and prevents mental exhaustion. You hear it if you've ever been on an airplane before: put your mask on before you attempt to put your child's mask on. Self-care is kind of along the same thing. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of anyone else. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And chronic stress, a lot of these here, the chronic stress, physical ailments, those diminish our cup. They take from us, whereas self-care is pouring back into the cup. So keep that in mind. There's a variety of different types of self-care. This is slide one of the types of self-care. There is physical self-care, which is engaging regular exercise, making sure you get adequate sleep and a balanced diet. You do need to eat and get sleep in order to survive in this world. Um, Adequate sleep, that's really subjective. Whatever you feel is enough sleep for you. For me, it's like 7 hours a night at least. Less than that, I'm not really a pleasant person to be around, but I think a lot of people can say that. Let's see. Take time for relaxation, massages, or including activities that just really promote your physical well-being. For me, I enjoy going hiking and camping. Reconnecting with nature is one of my primary sources of self-care. Emotional self-care. Acknowledging and expressing emotions through journaling, therapy, or talking to a trusted friend. So you do not really need to talk to a therapist. You don't necessarily need a mental health issue or concern, if you will. I have several clients who really just, our sessions focus on them venting, expressing their frustrations, and having someone that you talk to on a weekly basis is very cathartic. The relationship that between the client and the therapist is paramount to your well-being and self-care. Um, Journaling is a very interesting idea and topic. So the brain does not, from a cognitive standpoint, mental health standpoint, the brain cannot really differentiate between what's real and what's not real. So you journaling or writing down emotions, how your day was, good things and bad things. Don't just always focus on the negative, but getting that out, the brain does cannot differentiate between whether you are talking to another person, a trusted friend or a therapist, or whether you're just writing it down. What the brain realizes is that you are purging these thoughts, these feelings, and these emotions somehow or another. And that is why therapists will more often than not recommend and encourage you to journal. They may not tell you why they're encouraging you to journal, but that's why it is. Engaging in activities that bring joy, such as hobbies, creative outlets, or spending time with loved ones, that's also a type of self care. In this fast paced modern world, a lot of us take time away from loved ones, from hobbies, from creative outlets, and to give that time to work, which is where we really should not. We do need that good work-life balance. So mental self-care is practicing. You can practice mindfulness, meditation, reduces stress, and promotes mental clarity. Engaging in intellectual pursuits, learning new skills, or reading for pleasure. So I am an avid reader. I always encourage people to read. Learning a new skill. I'm currently engaged in several new learning opportunities and skills. So the internet is awash. There is a wealth of opportunities out there for you to learn new hobbies and new skills inexpensively. I'm not going to list off any of the available sources right now because that might be construed as favoritism, or I forget what the word is I'm looking for there. But nevertheless, just look up how do I type in the skill that you'd like to learn, and you'll find articles, sources, classes online that you can take to learn that new skill. Types of self-care continued. So there is social self-care. We humans are social creatures, so it's very important that we maintain relationship with close friends, family, friends, all of those things. Nurturing and maintaining healthy relationships with family, friends, and community. Participating in social activities, volunteering, or joining interest groups. So I have to admit, some of my more rewarding activities that I've done as a counselor has been involved in the pursuit of volunteering for. There's a local free clinic where I volunteer at, and that is actually where I receive the most reward for what it is that I do. Spiritual self care. Engage in activities that align with your personal beliefs, values, and meaning. Practicing gratitude, mindfulness, or engaging in religious or spiritual practices. So I would like to highlight here the topic of practicing gratitude. There's actually a lot of very interesting research coming out now about engaging in daily gratitude, whether that's uh, through journaling or just having a conversation with yourself, if you will, perhaps your internal monologue about things that you're grateful for. Clients who I work with who are depressed or have some subclinical symptoms of depression, I will encourage them to practice daily gratitude journaling. And it's not necessarily journaling, just really bullet point, if you will, what you're grateful for in that day. Identify 2 things that you're grateful for that happened in the day, and then use the third to express some gratitude for something about yourself. Professional self-care, setting boundaries and managing workload to prevent burnout. Seeking professional development opportunities and maintaining a healthy work-life balance. So this may be difficult, setting boundaries and managing workload to prevent burnout. That may be difficult for a lot of people, but you will find that it is very important when you can say no to a new assignment, or if someone is asking for volunteers to complete an assignment, you don't always have to be the one to raise your hand and say, I'll do that. That takes on a lot of extra stress and extra work that may be outside even of your normal workload. So don't spread yourself too thin. There's only one of you. Most companies are comprised of multiple employees or thousands of employees. You don't have to be the one to manage the entire company and every task. Incorporating self-care into your life. How on earth do you do all that? So assess your needs and prioritize self-care activities accordingly. So review back the slides on types of self-care. Highlight 1 or 2 that you would really like to participate in. Then brainstorm or identify methods of how you can actually incorporate those into your life. Create a routine or schedule dedicated time for self-care. Usually around lunchtime of a day, 12 o'clock, I incorporate mindfulness meditation, 20 minutes of that into my day. Start small and gradually build self-care habits that align with your preferences. So going back to the previous slides about types of self-care, identify 1 or 2 of those that you would like to incorporate into your life, and identify sources of how you can incorporate those and activities that align with them. Be flexible and adapt self-care practices to fit different life circumstances. So you may, if you're someone who does not always get a lunch break, you may need to practice your self-care at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day. You may need to take a 15-minute break or something just to incorporate something into your day. Seek support and accountability from loved ones or join a self-care group or community. So seeking support and accountability from loved ones, I find, is a very good method of making sure that we incorporate self-care into our daily life. I'm sorry, I accidentally jumped a slide. So, and what I mean by accountability from loved ones is make sure that your significant other is holding you accountable. You know, have them ask you at the end of each day, did you do your 20-minute meditation today? And you can say yes, no, justify either answer. So someone to just check in, make sure you're actually taking care of yourself goes a long way. So obstacles to self-care. Guilt and self-criticism. Oh, I'm strong enough. I don't need to engage in any of this. I've got this. I manage stress really well. Those are things that we generally hear during the therapy hour about why people don't engage in self-care when we stress it so much. So you need to overcome the belief that self-care is selfish or indulgent. Taking time for yourself is not selfish. It's not an indulgent. Practicing self-compassion and recognizing the importance of self-care in caring for others. As I said earlier, you cannot pour from anything from an empty cup. And when you are chronically overstressed, overworked, that is taking from your cup and you are unable to give to others. A lot of us engage or find ourselves in time constraints, time crunches. Prioritizing self-care as a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. So as a mental health therapist, I'm very protective of my time. I have my schedule is very structured. I offer X number of hours per week or per day, however you're looking at it, for seeing clients. Outside of that, I am unavailable. My schedule is fairly hard and fixed. And I do that for my own self-care and to make sure that I'm not taking time away from my family for work, for clients. I have time allotments that I'm offering to clients, and that's about as much as I can offer. Identify time-wasting activities to free up time for self-care. Sitting around scrolling on Facebook or scrolling through Twitter, what have you, the news, that is not self-care. That's not taking care of yourself. In fact, that's probably taking something from you. So those are what I would call time-wasting activities. In conclusion, self-care is essential for overall well-being and a balanced life. By investing in self-care, you cultivate a healthier relationship with yourself and those around you, and you are refilling your cup. That means you have something to give to others. Embrace self-care as an act of self-love, and remember that taking care of yourself is not selfish, but a necessary part of fulfilling and having a joyful life. And I hope you have found this conversation beneficial and helpful. So, again, thank you. My name is Matt Gamble, MA, PhD candidate. This is my therapy services website or email address website. You can find more about me at the website. I'm only licensed in the state of Virginia. This is not an advertisement of services, but just a little bit more about me. So, thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.